Hey there, guys. This is TC Made with the NJ Fargo League. Wanted to run through this real quick with you for the upcoming match. If you're using the paper copy of the schedule, or if you want to look up the handicap advantage for a team, what you would do is you would go and you would get the ranking for the Fargo rate for each person, and you just go to the leaguecalc.fargorate.com app. I had a link to it in the pages earlier. And what you do is you just punch in each of the handicaps for these players, and you can go in and say add more players. You just leave these on defaults, the 10-point system legacy, and then you hit calculate. So I'm going to move this off the side of my screen. I'll add some players in here, but I'll just take like the top five from each team here and put them in. So I would go and add 5 spots in here, for example. My first player's ranking was a 250. My second player on my roster was a 475. My third player was a 475. Fourth player was a 498. Last player was a 325 on my team. Then let's use the top five from the other side, which was a 375, a 425, a 465, a 529, and a 524. And I can just hit calculate. And what it shows is that the team, in this case, it would be high balls. I'll just pull this back over, but in this case, it would be high balls. These top five shooters, if they were playing these top five shooters, would get 6 points per round to their handicap advantage based on Fargo ratings. And in our previous example with the 8-ball score sheets, if you're using the paper copy, just remember that you would rank these players here, you'd list them, put their ratings in, and the score sheet tells you that the home team breaks all the first racks. And this first match would be shooter 1 versus shooter 6. So in our example, that would be Bethany Hughes versus Andrew Frank. And they would come out and they would play their match. And then you'd go to the next one, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 8, so on and so forth. It's listed in this block right here. And at the end of this, you would just add up everything and put in whatever the score is. 10 points for each 8-ball. And any balls that are, if you're not the person who made the 8-ball, you get points for every ball that is down. So let's say first match was like 10 to 7, and you had 10 points here. You just go down and add them all up at the end of this with your score, and then you would add in that handicap total, which we had said on here was 6 points per round. And so that would give you your new total. So it's total score plus handicap, and then handicap for 6 points would go on each one of these lines, unless you change the configuration of your roster. And if you change the configuration of your roster, then what you would want to do is go back to that calculator and change whatever it is you're going to change about it. So let's say that in the third round, I decided that I was going to put 425 in here in the second slot. And I would just go back and calculate that again. Now I'm going to gain 7 points starting in that round. And so I would just put, in this round here, let's say I swapped out the second shooter, and I would just write their new name in here and what their Fargo rate was, and the round that they entered, just circle, like switch out in 3 or whatever. And then your new handicap here would be a 7 or wherever you placed it. Okay, hopefully that explains how that works. In the app, it might look a little bit differently, and I don't know if it keeps track of shooter 1 versus 6 and 2 versus 7. So I would have a paper copy or something to reference this just to remember the lineups. And I'll be around to make sure everybody has what they need to get everything entered successfully. All right, thanks again, guys. Hopefully this answers some questions. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me or just leave a message in the chat room. Take care.